roots of equations in order to solve the equations that will be given here. Okay? So for higher order differential equation, we'll have two major types only. Okay? And those two are interconnected anyway. So the first one is this linear homogeneous DE with constant coefficients. Okay? So when you say linear homogeneous, so your uh, functions of y are only to the first power, and homogeneous because the right side is still 0. Okay? And later on, no, the final topic, so we will be solving for non-homogeneous higher order DE, wherein your right side of the equation now contains a non-zero function. Okay? Also, at the beginning of our discussions, na, di ba, I told you that you can write the notations for the derivatives, like for example, dy over dx as the operator capital D of y. So it means first derivative of y. So for second order, d squared y over dx squared. So this can be written as d squared of y, or second derivative of y. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. So given this form of differential equation, higher order, so you have d raised to ny. So it denotes your highest order or your order of the equation. So we will transform this into f of d times y equals 0. Okay, so meaning all those derivatives will be rewritten in the form of capital D times y. Okay, and then the next step for this one is to extract. So we will extract the f of d part. So the d parts here. So we will extract. So we will factor out all the y functions and extract all those d functions into an algebraic equation f of m equals 0. Okay, so to cut it short, so you will just extract all the d variables there or the d operators and transform them or rewrite them into m. Okay, so that it's algebraic now. Right? And once we have the f of m equals 0, the algebraic equation, so there you will use what I ask you to practice, which is solving for the roots of equation. Because if m is any root of the algebraic equation f of m equals 0, then that m is part of the solution y equals e to the mx of your equation. Okay? So this will be the solution to the equation containing the root m or roots. Okay? If you have multiple roots that you will solve. Okay? Depending okay? Depending on the type of root that you will get. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So if you practice what I gave you, diba, you will get there different types of roots. Okay, so you have distinct real roots. You can also have repeated real roots. You can also have distinct imaginary roots, the one containing the I, and repeated imaginary roots. So let's take them one by one. So first we have distinct real roots. So if your roots, upon your computation using either quadratic formula or by factoring or by calculator, if your calculator can solve for the roots of equations. So if what you got are distinct real roots, so what do you mean by distinct real roots? So real numbers, either counting numbers, natural numbers, fractions, irrationals, as long as they are real numbers, so they are included here. Distinct, ibig sabihin, or it means all of your roots are of different values. So they are distinct from each other. Okay? So what is the form of your general equation for distinct real roots? So look here. So this is the form, no? Although this looks long, but all you need to focus or all you need to familiarize is how to write each term. Okay? So we will be writing the general form per term. So if you notice here, okay? So each term, the format for distinct real roots is c sub n times e raised to m sub n times x. Okay, so how do you write that? So simply follow the notation for your algebra arbitrary constants. Okay, so for example, you have third order. Okay, third order DE. So how many arbitrary constants should you have? Diba? 3. Because you have a third order DE, so you should have the same number of arbitrary constants, which is 3. So also, you will have so 3 arbitrary constants, and you'll also have 3 algebraic terms for your solution, like this one. Okay? Also, if you have a third order differential equation as a given, you will also need to have 3 roots. Okay, so notice the pattern. So all depends on your order. So the number of your order will dictate how many roots, how many arbitrary constants, and how many terms you will need for your general solution. So if you had 4 terms or 4 arbitrary constants, but you only have a third order given, so there's something wrong with your solution. Also, if you only had two terms or 2 arbitrary constants, C1 and C2 only, but your given was third order. So again, there's something wrong with your solution. Okay, is that clear so far? So in this example, so we have 3 roots from a given DE. So you have M1, M2, and M3. So you have values of 1, 2, and 3. Now, to form the general equation, so we will just need to substitute it here on our pattern. So you'll have C1 e raised to mx. So your first m that you will use is this one. So that's why it's e to the x plus c2 e to the 2x. So you will use the second one plus c3 e to the 3x. So you will just use every root that you have. Okay, per term. Okay, question, sir. Pwede po ba magkabaliktad? Or can we mix up the roots for each term? Yes. Okay, so they are interchangeable. So you can write this as C1 e to the 2x. You can write this as C2 e to the 3x and so on. Okay? So, but for you to avoid confusion, so just follow, let's say you use your calculator, just follow the order that your calculator showed you or follow an increasing order. Start with the smallest value of your roots and then proceed accordingly according to increasing value. Okay, like that one. So like what was done there. Okay? So although if you happen to interchange or mix up the roots, so that's also fine with me. Okay, as long as the form is correct and the roots are correct in value. Okay? So far, did you follow how did we write the solution for the distinct real roots for this example? So again, you just need to familiarize with the pattern of each term. Okay? So now let's proceed to repeated real roots. So how do we write the solution for repeated real roots? So I want you to observe the difference between this and this one, the distinct real roots. So for the repeated real roots, your first term compared to your distinct real roots is the same. Okay? So what will be the difference? So the difference will come on your, so what we call succeeding terms. Okay, so when we say succeeding terms, your second term, third term, and so on. So on your succeeding terms, there will be, look at the difference here, there will be the difference or the presence of x raised to n minus 1. Or to cut it short, there will be the presence of an x factor, like this one and this one, of increasing exponent. So on your second term, you start with x to the first, and then on the next one, you'll have x squared. So if you have an x1 here, c4, then you'll have x cubed, e to the m 4x. If you still have the next one, you'll have c5, x to the fourth, right? E to the m 5x. Okay? So that's the difference between the two, between repeated and distinct real roots. Also, when we say repeated real roots, so all of the values of your roots are equal or the same. Like on this example, so you have M1, M2, and M3 all equal to 4. So all the M on your solution will be 4. Diba? You have e to the 4x, e to the 4x, e to the 4x. Okay? So all of the values of your m for repeated real roots is the same. So what will be the difference there on your terms is the presence of the x. Okay, so again, first term, you don't have an x yet here because technically, what you have here is x to the 0. But we all know anything raised to 0 is equal to 1. So you don't need to write this anymore. Okay? But for the second term, you will follow the pattern. So this will have x to the first, and then the next one, you'll have x squared. Now, if you have another, let's say m4, okay, also equal to 4, you'll have your c4 x cubed, because on your previous term, you have x squared. And then if you have still have another one, c5 x to the fourth, so just follow the pattern, e to the 4x pa rin. Okay, so are you following so far for distinct real and repeated real roots? Okay, so let's proceed to the imaginary roots, or more accurately called complex roots. So when you say complex roots or imaginary roots, so complex meaning it is formed complex. So it is formed by a real part, okay, which is this one, plus minus the imaginary part. Okay, wherein your imaginary part contains I, which is equivalent to the square root of negative 1. So on your calculator, let's say you did quadratic formula, or on your calculator, yung lumabas, no, is dun sa roots, no? There is an I on the roots. So I there means there is a multiplier of square root of negative 1. Okay, so that is your I. So for distinct imaginary roots, what you will usually get is a pair of roots that is plus minus. So if you notice here, it's not written here as m1, m2, right? Just m. Okay, it means this is already m1 and m2 because you'll have here 2 plus 3i, and the other root is 2 minus 3i. Okay, so that's already two roots, which is distinct. Okay, so to form the general equation, so this format, so first you will need to identify your a and b. Okay, so this is essential for solving or writing the general equation for distinct imaginary roots, or in general for imaginary roots. So you will need to identify your a and b. So for this example, your root is 2 plus minus 3i. So your a is your real part, so that's 2. And your b is the one attached to your I. So that's 3. Okay? Ito, question. Sir, do we need to consider the plus minus? So for this one, no need. So why there's no need to consider the plus minus? Because on your trigonometric identities, so we're already using cosine and sine. But technically, you should have used here like cosine, let's say bx, and then another cosine, negative b. Okay, negative bx. But on your trigo, this can be rewritten as sine of the positive angle. Okay, so more of that you will practice on your circuits too. Okay, when you're studying the equations of voltages, currents, no, using phasor angles and sinusoidal waves. Okay, so at least for now, all you need to focus is finding the value of A and B. No need to consider the sign convention for B. But of course, if you have a sign convention for A, you should follow that because A is a different case. This is included in your e to the ax. So if you have your negative 2, this should be negative. Okay? So now if you have identified your A and B, so you will just need to substitute in this form. So e to the ax times the quantity. Diba you have two terms here already, so C1 and C2. So C1 cosine BX plus C2 sine BX. So you will just need to substitute. So you'll have your e to the 2x, so that is your A, times the quantity C1 cosine BX, which is 3. So you have cosine 3x plus C2 sine 3x. That's it. That's your general solution or general equation for distinct imaginary. Okay? And for repeated imaginary roots, so this is like just a combination of your distinct imaginary and the concept of the repeated earlier. Remember, repeated real roots have the presence of your factor of x, which is increasing exponent. So same thing here for your repeated imaginary roots. So when you inspect the first term again, look at the first term or first set of terms. Okay? So the first set of terms for your repeated imaginary looks exactly the same as your distinct imaginary roots. Sorry, this one. So e to the ax, c1 cosine bx plus c2 sine bx. Okay? So why is that? Again, because what you have here is x to the 0. Oh, so you don't need to write this. So that's why they will look the same. Your first term for your repeated imaginary and distinct imaginary roots. So it's like for your first term of your repeated imaginary, you will write it as if you only have a distinct. But on the second term, you will apply the concept of the factor of x, of increasing exponent. Okay, is that clear so far? So in this example, so I need to add M4 because on our answer, you have C4. So some typographical errors here. So aside from that, so I will remove this. Okay, so it's not needed anymore. Okay. So for example, we have four imaginary roots or complex roots, all of which are valued 1 plus 2i. So your A is 1 and your B is 2. So again, you just need to identify your A and B. Okay, so actually this should have plus minus here. So but I forgot to type in, or I think I just copy pasted it from another note. So that's why I only copied the plus. So it should have been plus minus. And two sets here. So M1, M2, and then M3, M4. But you will encounter that on the example anyway. Okay? So to do this, we will write the first set first. So this is your first set of terms. Okay? So set 1. So it's just like writing the distinct imaginary. So e to the ax, wherein your a is 1, times c1 cosine bx, where your b is 2, plus c2 sine bx, where your b is still 2. Okay? So that's your first set of terms. And then the next one, for your next set of terms, so what will you need to do is apply the factor of x, starting with x to the first. So you'll have x e to the x times c3. So take note of this, you should always continue your numbering for your arbitrary constant. Okay, so you should not repeat or restart at C1. So it should be continuous. So if you uh, stop at C2 here, so the next term should be C3 and so on. So it's C3 cosine 2x plus C4 sine 2x. So now if you have another, let's say M5 and M6, all equal to this value still or another set. So you will apply the pattern. So if your last term is x, factor here x to the first, so the next one will be x squared. E to the x, c5, because you stop at c4, cosine 2x plus c6 sine 2x. And so on, if there are still other roots. Okay? So are you following so far? Okay, so let's proceed to the examples no para may practice ulit kayo. So I will solve the first one, okay, and then you will do the next three. Okay? So for the first one, or actually all of them are already given in what? F of d times y equals 0 na form. Okay, but you should expect that you might encounter a given na yung dy dx notation. So for example, example number 1, it can be rewritten as d squared y over dx squared plus 2 dy over dx minus 3y equals 0. So if this is your notation, so you will need to convert first into f of d of times y. Okay? It can also be written in the given as, let's say, y double prime plus 2y prime minus 3y equals 0. So again, you will need to convert first into f of d times y equals 0. Okay, is that clear? So before you proceed to the next step. So the next step is to create or extract the f of m equals 0. Diba? You will need to extract the part that contains all of your d operators. Okay? And factored out yung y variable. Right? So once we extract it, so all you need to do is recopy this and replace the d with m. So you'll have m squared plus 2m minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so no need to write the y. Okay? So what's the next step here? So the next step here, you will apply what I asked you to practice. Solving of the roots. So you will now solve for the roots of this algebraic equation. So you can do it different ways. You can use calculator directly. You can use quadratic or you can factor. No, you can use factoring. Okay, so either method is fine with me as long as you mention what you're going to use. So by calculator, by quadratic, or by factoring. So for this one, let's use factoring. So these are the factors, and then each factor you will equate to 0. Okay, and then you will solve for m. So these are your roots. Okay? So if you observe, so what roots you got are distinct real roots. Okay? So meaning, for the general equation, we will follow the pattern for the distinct real roots. So you have C1 e to the m1x plus C2 e to the m2x. So we will just need to substitute. So C1 e to the negative 3x plus C2 e to the x. So this is your general solution. Okay? Everyone following? So is the process clear to everyone? How we solve the higher order DE, homogeneous? Diba? If you compare to the processes that you practice or studied during midterm, diba this is easier or a lot easier as compared to memorizing or familiarizing with 5 different processes. So for all of these, for number 2, 3, and 4, this is exactly the same pattern of process that you're going to use. Okay? So I'll give you some time. So maybe until before 12:30. Okay? So you can try solving numbers 2, 3, and 4. So same process like what I've done there. No? So extract the algebraic equation, solve for the roots, and write the general equation. Okay, depending on the form. Okay, for numbers 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so if you have answered or if you have tried answering, so you may send your solutions or answers on our messenger group chat. Okay, so that the others can also see what you have done, or at least I can also see if you have tried answering this. Okay, so I'll be back around before 12:30 p.m.